Hello, my name is Luc de Wulf from Kessels & Smith, the Learning Company. The last years, I met a lot of inspiring people that work around appreciative inquiry, positive psychology, and strengths-based development. It inspired me to write a book. The title of the book is Go With Your Talent. In the next minutes, I would like to share with you some of the main thoughts of the book. But first, let's look together to a small YouTube video.
I am part of a lost generation and I refuse to believe that I can change the world. I realize this may be a shock, but happiness comes from within is a lie, and money will make me happy. So in 30 years, I will tell my children they are not the most important thing in my life. My employer will know that I have my priorities straight because work is more important than family. I tell you this, once upon a time, families stayed together. But this will not be true in my era. This is a quick fix society. Experts tell me 30 years from now I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. I do not concede that I will live in a country of my own making. In the future, environmental destruction will be the norm. No longer can it be said that my peers and I care about this earth. It will be evident that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It is foolish to presume that there is hope. And all of this will come true unless we choose to reverse it. There is hope. It is foolish to presume that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It will be evident that my peers and I care about this earth. No longer can it be said that environmental destruction will be the norm. In the future, I will live in a country of my own making. I do not concede that 30 years from now I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. Experts tell me this is a quick fix society, but this will not be true in my era. Families stayed together once upon a time. I tell you this, family is more important than work. I have my priorities straight because my employer will know that they are not the most important thing in my life. So in 30 years, I will tell my children, money will make me happy is a lie, and true happiness comes from within. I realize this may be a shock, but I can change the world, and I refuse to believe that I am part of a lost generation.
I like this movie. You can find it on YouTube when you look for Lost Generation. Why do I like it? Because it shows that there are two perspectives in life and in business. And the first perspective is a perspective in which everything is a problem. Your children are a problem, your partner is a problem, your colleagues are a problem, your management is a problem, your company is a problem that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. In that first perspective, what you have, your strengths, talents, successes are not so important. We look for the gaps. We look for problems because we want them to be solved. And what is typically for that first perspective is that there's a norm. There's a norm through which we are looking to performance, to people, and we look for the weaknesses, we look for gaps, and we try to fix those gaps. There's also a second perspective. In that second perspective, it's all about strengths. It's all about successes. It's all about passion. And it's about how can we grow those passions, how can we grow strengths, how can we grow successes in the direction of a future vision. In that second perspective, it's not about a norm. It's about what we wish, what we aspire, and what we want to grow to. One could think maybe we have to choose only for the second perspective, but that's not possible. That's not realistic in life, because in life we have to be able to deal with that first perspective in which we are looked at from the mirror or from the norm that is upon us. That means we have to have resilience in order to be able to deal with that norm. In an audit, in selection, when we do exams, we have to be able to deal with that first perspective and with that norm. But we are only able to do that when there's energy, and that energy comes from the second perspective. That energy comes from our talent, our passion, our strengths, and the way we are able to grow those strengths. So we need a combination of the one and the second perspective in the way we look to learning and to growth. So it's about results and it's about strengths. It's about performance and it's about passion. It's always about a combination of those two perspectives. Now, let's take a closer look to the concept of talent. I believe that everybody that is born with talent. I'm totally sure about that. But it's not because you are born with talent that it's sure you will do something with it in your life and in your profession. You need context that challenge you in order to bring that talent on the table. Talent is something very strange because when you're doing what you're good at, it doesn't take any effort. Talent is about all kinds of activities that don't take any effort of you and fuel you with energy when you do them. You get tired of your talent and of the activities you do when you're doing your talent, but it doesn't take any effort. And the consequence of that is that while you're doing your talent, while you're playing your strengths, at that moment, in a lot of cases, we are not aware of the fact that this is talent. So we will need other people that see our talent. And then something strange happens. At the moment someone sees in you a strength or a talent and says to you, you're really good at that, for a lot of people, that is the moment that they become aware of their talents. And it also changes something in the relationship with you and that person. You get curious. Why did that person see talent in me? Why did that person see passion in me? And at that moment, there's something in the relation that starts the growth of development. It means I feel motivated by that person to grow and to develop my talent. Talent has also a lot to do with energy. When you do what you're good in, when you're playing your strengths, when you're doing your talent, at that moment you fuel your batteries. Your batteries get loaded. So the more we do our talent, the more our batteries get loaded. When we do what we're not good at those moments our batteries get unloaded. That means we lose energy. So, of course, it's not a good objective to try to get your batteries full every day and at all moments while working, because that's not realistic in life. But it's about to find a good level. It's about how can I do as much as possible things using my talents so that my batteries are loaded as much as possible, and also accept that there are some things in life that happen that I have to use my weaknesses and then my batteries are going down. But it's very important to see that only when our batteries are more than half full, that we are doing a lot of those things we're good in, only at those moments we will have the resilience to meet all the objectives and all the performance goals that we have in our work. So that battery level is very important. So when you do your talent, it loads your batteries. When you have to play your weaknesses, it unloads your batteries. In my book, I make a distinction between 3 circles. The first one is a circle of talent. The second one is a circle of leverage skills. And the third circle is a circle about those things we are not good in. The first circle is about talent or talent in action. You can recognize that talent in action by yourself when you think about all situations that you belong for and that you enjoy very much when you're doing them. In those situations, time flies. These are those moments that you look on your watch and you see, well, time went on, it's 2 hours later, and during that time that you were in your talent, you don't feel that you're getting tired. It's only at the moment you go out of that situation, you look to your watch, at that moment you realize, I'm very much tired. Another thing about talent is that under stress, even under stress, you're still able to do what you're good in. That means it is even worse. When you're under stress, you will start to exaggerate your talent. For instance, someone who has a lot of ideas, who's very creative, who makes all the time creative connections between ideas, he will experience that under stress, he will start to exaggerate that. And he will come with ideas in not appropriate times or moments. So he'll have to learn to deal with that. So this is about your talent in action. Leverage skills are skills that we have to learn in our life to get more out of our talent. For instance, that person with his ideation and a lot of ideas, that person, he will need to learn skills, for instance, to time his interventions, to write down ideas for the just and appropriate moment. And when he develops that skill, he will be able to get more out of his talent. Under stress, his talent will exaggerate. And the thing about leverage skills is that they get smaller under stress. So we'll have to learn those leverage skills so good that even under high stress, we are still able to use those leverage skills. And then there are those things, that weaknesses, things that we are really not good in. How do we handle that? It's about situations we postpone. But when we have done them, we are relieved. We have dialogues in our heads. When we are driving home, we have thoughts in our heads, thinking about those difficult situations. We have very much difficulties in dealing with those situations. And but once we have done them, we feel very much relieved. How do you deal those weaknesses? Well, my point of view is very clear. Don't try to develop your weaknesses, but at the same time, take your responsibility for the results. So how can we deal with performance, with objectives, in such a way we don't develop those weaknesses, but we find other solutions to reach those goals? This means we will have to need to collaborate, to look for other people, to look for ways to find solutions for those things we're not good in. For instance, I'm not able to write sentences on paper that I can read afterwards. It's very difficult. I'm a consultant and I have to go to clients, and when 2 weeks later I read my notes, I'm even not able to read 40% of my notes. That's a big problem when you want to make a proposal for a client. But I learned to use my computer, and I can type very quickly, and I even can interview someone using my computer at the same time. So what I learned is to bring my computer to clients and to type on my computer and to use mind maps. And the result is that now, at this moment, I have about 10,000 mind maps of notes I made while being with a client, and it makes me possible at any moment to find those notes and to use them anytime. So that means I didn't develop the weaknesses, but I took responsibility for the result, and I even got a solution or a way of dealing with those notes that makes me better in going on with those results and that kind